Internal controls. Congratulations, you've made it to the last section of this course before the test. I call this the keeping honest people honest section because that's really what it's all about, is you're trying to set up your operation so that people who may be tempted to do something that's not quite right, that they know they'll be caught. And if that's the case, they're a lot less likely to do it. Most people, if they're think they're going to get away with something, or if they're sure of it, they're a lot more likely to do it. Maybe there's a $20 bill that they find out in the forest or someplace, and then they decide, well, I found this $20 bill, it's mine. There's very few people that would say, I'm going to take it back to the park ranger or take it to the police and say, I found $20 out in the woods, because they are so sure that they're not going to get caught that they are the ones who took that $20. But if there is a police officer standing right there and there is a $20 bill, they might pick it up, and the police officer give them a glare, and then they might decide, well, that they're going to turn it in to see if anybody had lost it. So the more likely it is that you're going to get caught, the less likely you're going to try something. And the point of that is that your members have to set it up, your operation up, to make sure that people feel like they're going to get caught. Otherwise, they're going to be tempted to do something illegal that they would have never thought about doing unless they all of a sudden were put in a situation where they weren't going to get caught. So what is the definition of internal controls? Well, the more formal definition is the process by which an organization ensures achievement in operational effectiveness and efficiency. Well, what does that mean? Basically, it means that you're setting it up to say who can or who should do what tasks. How do you track organizations' assets? How do you document what is required for games? Who do you contact if you have a problem? How is the organization monitored, and what are the consequences of non-compliance? So we're going to talk about each one of those areas in this section. One of the biggest internal controls that you can have is for full disclosure at your monthly meeting. That way that all members who are there, they know that they can vote on gambling related issues. They can ask questions about your gambling operation. They can look at the reports to make sure everything looks right. When we get allegations from members, they call us and say, I was at my meeting and I asked how much is in the bank account, and the gambling manager told me it was none of my damn business, and I think I should be able to know what's in the gambling account. And we say right away, that's a big red flag coming up, that the gambling manager is withholding information from the members. And we got to wonder why, and that's when we start to check into things. And then that's when the organization's members should especially start to look into things if they're getting any pushback on the information that they want to know. So each month, the gambling manager has to make a gambling report to the membership and at the regular meeting. The gambling manager is going to do two things. The gambling manager is going to report on the activities for the previous month, and then get a motion to approve the expenses for the upcoming month. And there's a form that we use designed to help organizations do both of those things. And that form is at LG1004. It's called a monthly gambling report to members. The first page is for the report to the members about the previous month. So let's say, for example, that your meeting is on July 15th. Well, if that's the case, generally you would try to report your activities for the month of June, and you would get your expenses pre-approved for the month of August. So you're always working a month back and a month ahead. And these are the items that you would need to put in your report into the meeting minutes to report on the activity for the previous month. You see item number 1 here is the Lawful Gambling Activity Summary, or the G1 Lawful Gambling Monthly Tax Return, with the schedules LG100A, Schedule B2, LG100C, and LG100F. So those would all go in a packet. that you would put together to present to your membership. Then you also include a copy of your check register, copies of distributor invoices or perpetual inventory records, a copy of the month-end physical inventory, copy of itemized bank statement reconciliation, a fund loss report if you had one that month, hopefully not, and then any official correspondence with the Gambling Control Board or other agencies such as the Department of Revenue or IRS. So all of those things would go, usually they go in like a 3-ring binder that end up being the attachments to the meeting minutes. So in your meeting, you'll say, Joe Johnson, the gambling manager, gave his gambling report. He said we were doing really well at the new site, etc. Maybe there's some little discussion there that you would include. And then you would say there was a motion and seconded and approved to approve the gambling report, and that gambling report is in the meeting minutes book in the attachment under attachments, and maybe in that other 3-ring binder where you have the gambling report, maybe there's also the bar manager's report, maybe there's the little league team report or whatever it might be, but that's where all of the information would be saved with the meeting minutes. So you'd have the text of the minutes and then this other documentation. If somebody's requesting those minutes, then they get both the text and all of those attachments so that they can look through there, and if they want to see exactly what expenses were paid out of the gambling account, that they can do that. So that's the report to members for the previous month. Then the next thing you'll do is you'll list your expenses that you want to get approved for the upcoming month. Some of them you'll know the exact amount. Maybe the rent on your storage shed is always $100 per month. So you'd list that here on the second page as an item to be approved. For compensation, maybe the expenses are usually around $600 a month. So maybe you'd want to get approval up to say $800 a month so that you have a little leeway. You don't want to make it so high that the that the gambling manager can do, hire his son to clean out the storage shed for $2,500 for a summer job, or something like that. You don't want to approve it so high, but you want to approve it so that there's enough leeway for the gambling manager to get the job done. So you list out those expenses, get a motion to approve them, and second, and so on, and then you can move on to donations, lawful purpose expenditures. Now, even your taxes need to get prior approval for that. That'll be another item that you'll estimate the amount, what the tax will be. Then there'll be your donations. Maybe someone will want to give $100 to the Boy Scouts, or someone will want to give $1,000 to the United Way. Each of those items, a lot of times they're voted on separately, sometimes they're voted on all at once. Either way, there needs to be a motion to approve all of those expenses. So again, at the monthly meeting, you're going to do report on the previous month and get approval for expenses in the upcoming month. You can estimate the expenses. We want you to establish a reasonable cap, and then you'll report the actual expenses at the next month's meeting. So now we're at the end of the first video of the 3 videos in this section on internal controls. Go back to the course, answer a couple questions, click on the link, and then you'll start up the second video.